Welcome back. 50 years back, they fought in some of the toughest battles independent India has known. Today, 50 years later, if they thought they could look back at their experiences of the 65 war, they were mistaken. As the government celebrated the anniversary of 1965, these veterans chose to boycott all government functions because they're out protesting for one rank, one pension. So as the government celebrated, they protested.
For the first time, India celebrating its victory in the 1965 war against Pakistan. Not too far away, also for the first time, veterans boycotted the official celebrations. Commemorating the 1965 war separately at Jantar Mantar, continuing with their demand for one rank, one pension. Like D.P. Nair, who fought in the famous Battle of Khemkaran, where the Indian victory was more than decisive. He was invited to the government function to mark the Golden Jubilee celebrations, but he chose to be with the protesting veterans.
Principally, I don't agree that there should be any boycotting of anything, because I believe in negotiations, no fruitful purpose will be served. Should I go and violate the demand of my co-brothers?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I should be celebrating our great victory in 1965. But we are on the streets. Why?
With many veterans staying away, the president met the few who showed up at Amar Jawan Jyoti.
It's a day of many firsts as veterans continue with their protest. On the other hand, the government says there is no need to agitate as it stays committed to giving one rank, one pension.
अभी थोड़े बहुत जो कुछ गैप्स है वो भरने की कोशिश चालू है. Give it some time for completion.
The protesting veterans today met Home Minister. Sources tell NDTV more or less all hurdles have been cleared. The only issue that needs to be ironed out is whether pensions are rationalized every year or with a gap of 2 or 5 years, something that the veterans are not willing to compromise on.
We have requested a meeting with the Prime Minister, and I'm sure Prime Minister is the last word. He had assured us. We have full faith in the Prime Minister.
Negotiations between the veterans and the government have been long and tedious, and yet there are a few more rounds of negotiations left. There are, however, clear indications that the government and the veterans are close to solving the issue. But it is still not clear when one of the key poll promises of Narendra Modi that a one rank, one pension for the military is going to be implemented. With Ketki Angre and camera person Srinivas Rao and Raju Punia, Shruti Ranjan Sen for NDTV.
So has the pension row taken the shine off the 1965 celebrations? Joining us now to debate this, General V.P. Malik, former Army Chief. We're also joined by a veteran of the 1965 war, Wing Commander Vinod Neb, who shot down a Pakistani fighter in that war and won a Veer Chakra for it. Also joining us, GVL Narasimha Rao of the BJP and Khushbu Sundar, the spokesperson of the Congress. Thank you all very much for joining us. General Malik, it appears once again after so much hope day before yesterday that things were headed in the right direction, that nothing in terms of reaching a solution to OROP will be arrived at anytime soon. And we are told at this stage that has to do with the revision of pension payments. The government says they are willing to revise once every 5 years. The OROP veterans say it has to be revised every year. At some stage, do you believe that the OROP veterans also need to be a little more flexible?
Yes, I think, firstly I must say that every day's delay is causing more frustration, more anger, and the sense of betrayal is also increasing, which is a very dangerous thing. And it seems to be in the recent stages, it looks to me that there is a sense of alienation also which is coming up. So firstly, I must emphasize again and again that this whole thing needs to be sorted out as early as possible. Not in a question of days, but I would say in a matter of hours. yes, certain amount of flexibility has to be shown, and as I can see that they have already come together very close. Now it's a question of whether the the veterans who are sitting there at Jantar Mantar, whether they will accept 1 year or 2 years revision, or as the government wants it to hold it at 5. This is not a very major problem. The major problem, I think, has been sorted out when the government has accepted 2013 and 14 as the base year, and they have also accepted to start this with effect from 2014 itself and not take it to 2015. Now, this revision of pension is not a very serious problem. It can be done 1 year. I have a feeling that if you increase it by 1 more year, possible that people, the senior veterans, they will agree to it. As they have been saying, they have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister. If the Prime Minister was to call them and speak to them, they may agree to that.
Okay. But
But
let me just...
if you continue to deal with them through bureaucracy, where they don't have any trust, that is a big problem.
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, that seems to be the problem. They've been asking for meetings with the Defence Minister. Of late, that's not been given. They've been asking for meetings with the Prime Minister. That's not been given. Why is there this disconnect between the Prime Minister and these veterans who've been protesting for more than 70 days?
I think that can hardly be a cause of complaint. Honorable Prime Minister has been repeatedly reiterating his commitment to implement this as soon as possible. This was an election promise, but many governments have made this promise in the past. But it is only this Prime Minister who has agreed to keep his word,
but why
and has
doesn't he
been
speak to
working
the veterans?
assiduously towards.
We know OROP
No, I
has
think
been
meeting
promised
the
and never done by the Congress. Let this not for once be a Congress versus BJP
Yes.
issue. The
So
Congress has done absolutely nothing as far as implementing OROP is concerned. But my question is this to you, Mr. GVL
So
Narasimha Rao.
therefore-
If the Prime Minister had spoken so eloquently about OROP, if he had spoken so eloquently about reaching out to this massive community, on so many occasions the BJP has done this, why is he not granting them a meeting? They've been asking for days.
Vishnu, I think what is important is that the Prime Minister and his office have taken over the responsibility to ensure that all the loose ends are quickly tied up. I think for the first time, let me make these facts very clear. It is only for the first time that the Defence Minister and the Defence Ministry got these proposals cleared from their Defence Finance, which is headed by civilian officers, got these proposals sent across to Finance. And now the Prime Minister's office is
Mr.
directly
GVL Narasimha Rao,
intervening to
every
ensure that
single
all
proposal has
the demands
almost
are
been agreed
addressed.
on, except one. If you were going to agree on every single proposal, barring just one which is being negotiated now, why couldn't you have done this several months back, if not a year back?
Vishnu, you see, I do not have any official information as to which of the proposals have been accepted, which are still pending discussion. But there is a serious and sincere commitment on the part of the Honorable Prime Minister and the government to see that we conclude very quickly.
Okay, we've heard the sincere commitment so many times. What these veterans really want to see is...
No, but this government, we have been in power for 15 months. Successive governments have not done
this. The point they try to make, sir, is that this could have been implemented in 3 months. But be that as it may, let me just go across to General Sadbir Singh. General Sadbir Singh is one of the leaders of the protesters. General Sadbir Singh, when I spoke to you day before yesterday, you were...
All this takes a little time.
That's an important point about pressure. I'll come back to that. That was my next question. I'll come back to that. But General Sadbir Singh, the point that's being raised right now is on the revision of pension. You believe it has to happen every year. The government seems to suggest it has to happen every 5 years. Is there any scope for negotiation in this? General Sadbir Singh.
Vishnu, I wish to inform through you all the panelists and everybody else in the whole country that the very definition will be defeated in case it is not done every year. Because next year, the junior will start getting more than the senior. The basic bottom line is that no junior should draw a higher pension than a senior. If you do 5 years, then I, as a Major General, would draw less pension than a Lieutenant Colonel. That would happen, which is against the basic principle. I have explained this to all the people who are interacting with us from the government, and they agree, but they still insist that they don't want to do it. So where is the meeting ground of meeting the very definition? Kindly, if the definition has been approved, let's agree to execute and implement accordingly without any dilution.
Khushbu, let me come to you next. Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao had a very important point. He says that why are you just blaming the BJP? What has the Congress party done in all of these years? All I see the Congress party do is criticize. But when you talk about the honor of our servicemen and servicewomen, the Congress has failed this country as far as OROP is concerned for decades.
Vishnu, I would like to correct Mr. VVL Narasimha Rao from BJP, saying that it's very easy to put the blame on UPA, saying that what did you do from 2004 to 2014?
Not 2004.
I can very comfortably say what did you do from... I would like to ask them for a decade. That's what I said, 2004 to 2014. That's a decade.
No,
I'm
talking from the 70s, Khushbu. Khushbu, I'm talking from the 70s.
Okay, after that from the 70s. Even the genesis, let me come to the point, Vishnu. It's not about the blame game. Let me talk about it. It's not about the blame game. It's very easy for Congress to put back and say that what did you do when you were in power? Prior to the Congress, also before 2004. This is not, OROP is not about what BJP did, what Congress did. It's about our veterans, our war veterans. Today we sit comfortably in our homes because of these people who have sacrificed their lives, their families and everything, every comfort to give us a very secured life. And this is not about Congress or BJP. This is about the respect and value and how much we love you. We did, no, it's not about waking up this to this now. Let me remind you when UPA won and can I just complete, Vishnu? It was in 2004 to 2014, if you remember, we had increased the pensions thrice. Secondly, after that, I would also like to remind that this was, it was made applicable in 2014, February 27th, OROP was made applicable, and we said that April 1st, we had signed the document, said it will be applicable. But after that, the government has changed. Now, I would like to remind the BJP is, you, as a BJP, had promised the people of this country, the servicemen, that as soon as BJP comes to power, we will implement OROP in 100 days. 100 days are gone, the next Diwali is coming. And last year on Diwali, we had our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji talking about it and saying that I will do it. It is in my destiny. That's what he said in Siachen when he said that it is in my destiny that I implement
no doubt
OROP.
that this government will
and
do
what
it.
happened to that destiny?
Khushbu, the problem is the format
let them
takes.
do it. That's what I'm saying. See, if the government was very clear of doing it, they should have done it.
It's the question of the definition which is
they had promised to do it. So, no, my question is very simple. You said you will do it in 100 days. What happened to that 100 days?
Okay,
so
Mr. GVL Narasimha Rao, very briefly, before I go across to Wing Commander
100 days, what happened to this 100? What happened
GVL
to Prime
Narasimha Rao,
Minister Modi's destiny to implement this?
What was not done for 33 years? Within 13 months, this government is about to complete, about to achieve the finality as far as OROP is concerned. And we have never promised it will be done in the first 100 days. I think that's a misstatement. That's not a correct statement. And you have promised to OROP. You have promised to OROP.
I would like to remind you. I would like to remind you about Prime Minister
Modi. We should be wasting our time on this kind of political debate.
No.
It is your election manifesto in the
this
past.
This is not a political debate as to what you did.
Let us remember very clearly. It's about our servicemen. It's about a serviceman. It's about their honor. It's about how much we value their sacrifice. There are a few people on this panel who know a thing or two about honor. One of them is Wing Commander Vinod Neb. Wing Commander Neb, let me ask you this. 50 years ago in the 65 war, you had shot down a Pakistani saber. You went on to shoot down another Pakistani saber in the 1971 war. You're a Veer Chakra winner 2 times over. Does it actually sadden you to be on this program today, to be talking about OROP when we should have been speaking about the battles that you participated in?
Vishnu, you're absolutely right. My attire would tell you about what I feel about the whole thing. Though it is indeed a very proud moment for me that I participated in 1965 war and did achieve a little bit of contribution to the success of 1965 conflict with Pakistan. It's very proud. It makes my chest go a little wider. The fact is, despite all the achievements in life, today we have to sit on the road and not able to visit and celebrate the people with the rest of the country. I feel very sad. It shouldn't have happened, but unfortunately, these people have forced us to do this. Had anything been done in time, I've been begging for it over many days. When I found that things are getting closer and they're likely to be sorted out, I said, please for God's sake, do it fast enough so that I'm able to take part. This Golden Jubilee celebration doesn't happen. It happens in one's life only once. And I'm losing that time. I've already lost today's event. And it probably is not announced tomorrow. I probably will be out of that also. So onus lies with the government to deprive me of this, and nobody should be pointing any fingers at me.
Okay. General Malik, let me come back to you, sir. To a lot of us who've been covering this story, there seems to be an element of an ego battle which is taking place. Should the protesters call off their protests first, or should the government go ahead and announce OROP first? The government seems to be indicating that they don't want to be pushed around by protesters. They've said something, they will do it. They don't want to be seen to be having a loss of face. Is this a problem, sir? We've come so close and yet it's not been sealed because of this divide that still exists.
Vishnu, look, we are talking about a problem which has been there in existence for decades. And we are talking about a problem where, unfortunately, the soldiers, the veterans, they have been protesting on the streets for months together. We are talking of a problem where they have given their pride of medals and they have given it away to the government. I mean, so, no, it's a question of, we must realize, that's why I'm saying that every day that passes, we have a more serious problem, and the government cannot afford to, no government can afford to alienate its soldiers, the last instrument of the state. It's a very, very serious situation. And there is no question of anybody sticking on to sort of me first. I think it is a duty of the government, and it is not that much of a duty of the veterans. It is the duty of the government to make sure that they do not alienate the veterans, the soldiers of the country. And this is something which even Chanakya had said way back in the so many centuries ago. So it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that the soldiers are kept happy, they do not have any ill feelings, and they do the work quietly as they have been. And Indian Army has got terrific traditions. Okay. And there is no soldier who wants to disobey the government. But why are we landing ourselves in that kind of a problem? I think the government has to show its hand more than it has been doing so far.
General Satbir Singh, we are running short on time, so let me ask you this, sir. Do you believe that this is at this stage less about money, rupees and paisa, and more about where the armed forces stand in our society? All right, I'll just...
Vishnu, sorry I couldn't get you earlier, but I understand it is about money or the standing of the military in the society. Vishnu, it is very much standing of the military in the society. We have a pride in our nation, but there are certain issues which the government have to look at it. It is also the duty of the state, while the soldier gives his last ounce of blood to protect the integrity and sovereignty of the nation, it is the duty of the state, duty of the government duty of the people of the country to ensure the soldier is looked after while he's in service in terms of weapons, in terms of leadership. When he's disabled, he's looked after properly so that he can live with dignity and respect. And when he's dead, his family is looked after properly. Unfortunately, that is not the case which is happening in India today. Having assured us for giving us one rank, one pension, 17 months back granted, we are still waiting.
Okay.
After having closed all doors, we had to come at the doors of people, but nobody's listening. Even while the interlocutors were discussing with us, they are doing saudebaji.
Okay.
They are doing like the shopkeepers. अच्छा 2 महीने ले लो, 4 महीने ले लो, 5 साल में देंगे, 10 years we'll give it. No, my dear sir, I beseech the conscience of my government. I beseech the conscience of the nation. Please, whatever is the approved definition, without any delay, without any dilution, please kindly implement one rank, one pension.
Okay, Wing Commander Neb, briefly, sir, before I go back to General Malik. Yes, Wing Commander, quickly, sir.
Yeah, the point is this: the answer would lie if you just revisit 1973. You will know everything, why it has happened and what should not happen. Even if you look at the protocol level, the chief was number 4 at protocol, and today he's in double digit. It just speaks of our pride and honor which we carry with the services are known for, and this is exactly where it has been really systematically slaughtered. We don't take it kindly. It's high time somebody realizes this and does something about it, and should trust little more the army than the bureaucrats, because both arms are very important. The administration is as important as the armed forces. So you have to make the balance, but you cannot just denigrate one particular arm of yours to achieve or to appease the other one. It's not right.
General Malik, let me quickly come to you for your last comment on this. You know, viewers seeing this program would say that, you know, it's officers and men and women of the armed forces who stand to gain when they retire. But it's widows and war widows who, those who were disabled because of action and who had to leave the force, who would gain the most monetarily. This is perhaps a part of this entire saga we've not spoken about. Widows, war widows, the disabled.
I totally agree with you. You know, the maximum benefit will go to the widows, the war widows, and even to the other ranks, JCOs and other ranks, and not so much to the officers when you look at the percentage of the Indian Armed Forces. But, you know, your last question, I totally agree with Wing Commander Neb. I must tell you, I've been talking about this breakdown of civil-military relations, and one of the important reasons for that is the manner in which the status of the armed forces has gone down into the society, deliberately done by the government over the years. And he mentioned about the warrant of precedence. The same way I can also mention the way when our soldiers go to the collector's office or at Thanedar's office, the way they are being treated. The other day, what happened in Connaught Place when people were being manhandled by the police. Now, this is all a reflection of the breakdown of civil-military relations.
Okay,
and
General,
that must be prevented.
General, I think those are the strongest words that you've used in quite a few days on this particular issue. Where do we place and respect our armed forces in India, in our country? Is pride just a word that is loosely used when our soldiers charge up the hills of Kargil? Do we forget about them the rest of the time? Where do we really care about them? OROP is less about money, it's more about honor. Should that point perhaps be considered more by the government? Thanks very much for being with us. We're out of time.